Probate in a nutshell is a court-supervised process that basically disposes of the assets of a deceased individual. The process of probate starts with a petition. It's basically a notice to the court that you've passed away or that an individual has passed away. And then we begin to develop an inventory of assets. And the second is that we begin the process of notifying and gathering information regarding any creditors, so any debts that an individual might owe. At that point, we would determine if any debts we can afford to pay, and we sometimes liquidate assets. And then the final step is to pay all the tax obligations, file the tax returns, and then make the distributions of the shares of the estate to the heirs of the deceased individual. Probate is both time-consuming and expensive. These are sort of the classic criticisms of probate. In Iowa, you can expect a probate to run about a year. And the issue there is the fact that the assets aren't really available in liquid form. And they're certainly not going to pass to the heirs of the estate during that time. The typical probate in Iowa will cost roughly 5% of the total value of a deceased individual's estate. And between paying the executor, paying the attorney, and then paying all the other miscellaneous costs. So if you think about that, if you add up the value of your home, your vehicles, all your stuff, and this is the one that trips people up, all of your retirement accounts, actually, bank accounts, all that stuff, add that up and take 5% of that off the top. That goes to the cost of administration. That's before we pay any bills, and certainly before we make any distributions of assets to heirs. So it's an expensive proposition. Probate can be avoided in certain specific circumstances. The common way to avoid probate is by the creation of a revocable living trust, which basically allows the trust to own your assets during your lifetime. You retain the right to use and enjoy them, but the trust owns the assets. And so at the time of your death, you personally own no assets. And as a result of that, there's nothing to probate. With a trust, you can make those distributions much more quickly and usually at much less cost. The probate code is complicated. There's over 100 pages in the Iowa probate code. And so there's a lot of possibility for mistakes. The court has very little tolerance for mistakes. So you really want someone that knows the probate code and knows the tax code in order to get you through it, safely. I have focused my practice on probate and estate planning proceedings exclusively for the past 4 years. And so I handle several probates every year. I probably have a couple new probate cases per month on average. I think our clients hire us to be their representation for a wide variety of reasons, but the biggest one, I think, is authenticity. We limit the number of clients we take in on a monthly basis because we want to spend the adequate amount of time with each client to make sure that we really understand you, we understand your circumstances, and we're not shipping out the same set of documents for every client, but it's highly personalized. The other thing that I think a lot of clients really enjoy is the fact that we're very educationally focused. We want you as a client to be empowered to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. I don't adopt a prescriptive approach. I'm not here to tell you what you need. I'm here to help you understand exactly what the options are to achieve the goals that you have. I think our current and past clients would both agree that they had an exemplary experience. I think that they would genuinely say that they were met with caring and compassion, that they were heard and listened to, and they achieved exemplary results. Client communication is the most important thing, in my opinion. And that's why I work very hard to keep the channels of communication open. My goal is to return an email inquiry within 24 hours. I try very hard to return telephone calls the same day that I receive them because I want you to know that I am listening to what you're saying. I'm working on your case, and I'm sensitive to your concerns. We are a very small firm, and we're a small firm by design. When I was in law school, I worked for a very, very small law firm, and my boss had been in the practice of law for longer than I've been alive, and so she had developed these rich relationships with clients, sometimes going across multiple generations, 2 and 3 generations of family members. And I was really blown away by the fact that she was able to do that. And it wasn't just a transaction; it wasn't a name or a file or a dollar amount. The goal when I established this firm was to recreate that experience and to be able to develop those deep, meaningful relationships with clients. So I will not hand your case off to another lawyer because I'm the only lawyer here. I feel really strongly about developing that relationship between the attorney and the client. Now, that being said, I don't hesitate to say if I feel like we're not a good match, if it's not a type of matter that I feel totally comfortable handling, or I feel like you may benefit from another lawyer better, I will certainly refer you to another lawyer. But once we've signed the agreement, I'm going to be doing the work on your case. The initial case consultation for a probate matter starts by really just kind of talking through what's going to happen. I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people have is the fact that probate is going to be quick and it's going to be easy, and it's neither of those things. And so I spend a fair amount of time really focusing on setting those expectations that we're going to be working together probably for a year to 2 years.